Hello and welcome to our webinar, The Importance of the Branded Experience. And today we'll share why shipping communication should be a part of your marketing plan. I am really excited to be joined, if you don't mind going to the next slide, with some lovely folks today. But before we get started, I wanted to go through some information about the webinar and expectations. So first and foremost, we're recording the webinar and we'll be sending the recording within 1 day. And so throughout the webinar, if questions or comments come up, please don't hesitate to enter them into the questions section. We're really looking forward to seeing those and answering those. And so today I'm joined by some lovely ladies here. But before I introduce them, I wanted to share that I'm Emily Kalkoffer, Director of Marketing here at Wineshipping. And I'm passionate about the DTC wine industry, and I get really excited to share knowledge that will help wineries and wine sellers be successful. I'm joined by my colleague, Karen Strykowski. Karen, would you mind introducing yourself?
Hi, everyone. I'm Karen Strykowski. I'm a Client Experience Strategy Manager here at Wineshipping. And it's been my pleasure to be part of the wine industry. This is my 17th year, and most of my career have been on the direct-to-consumer side. I've been at Wineshipping just over a year, and it's been a really great joy to be working with you all and teaching you about our new technology and all the great things that we have been doing and sharing and creating over the last year.
Wonderful. Thanks. Yeah. And without further ado, I'd love to pass it over to Susan to share more about herself and WineGlass Marketing.
Hey guys, thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to share the virtual screen with you. And it was really fun pulling this together. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Susan DiMattei. I founded WineGlass Marketing 11 years ago with the goal of creating the most comprehensive and full service marketing support agency for the adult beverage industry. Well, I have a team of 30. All of them are employees. We don't subcontract. And most of us are here in California. We do have about 50 clients that are all over the world, but most are here on the West Coast.
Thanks so much. And here's some more information to share about WineGlass Marketing.
Yeah, Wineshipping asked me to share a little bit about who we are, and we're a bit unique in that we can support clients in D2C as well as 3-tier marketing, and we also have several B2B clients within the wine industry. Another unique factor about us is that we do have a full technology staff. So we tend to look at our clients' requirements, and then we can make recommendations based on the correct tools that will work for them, and that's some of the things we're talking about today. We also really like shiny things, so we submit our websites and our photography, our emails, our illustrations, our videos. There's a whole bunch of international competitions for creative agencies like ours. Pleased to see that we do quite well, and we won quite a few platinum and gold awards in these, which is nice to know because you don't have to go to San Francisco or LA to get really good creative, and it's great for us to look at benchmarks of others in the industry. I think it is incredibly relevant. Go ahead. You guys introduce yourself. Sorry, I got ahead of it.
Oh, no worries. No, I just wanted to say the honor is ours to have you join us today. And I wanted to share a little bit about Wineshipping. And so we're committed to protecting our clients' brands, and all of our stats listed here are possible because we're looking for ways to help our clients deliver on their promises to their customers. So we are an extension of our clients' team, mainly of wineries and wine sellers, and we really look forward to helping our clients, partners, and industry members continue to succeed. A little bit more about us, I want to share our stands, and that's really a lens that how we approach our colleagues, our clients, and the industry. So really everything we do is considered through these stands of unity, simplicity, and fun. And as we all know, wine is pretty fun. And so today, what we'll be sharing between Susan, Karen, and myself, we'll be discussing the importance of the branded experience, really in terms of shipping. And we'll share details on customer expectations and how that's evolving. We'll dive into shipping notifications, including the statistics, examples, best practices, not only for emails, but SMS. And then we'll end with a chance to get your questions answered. Before I dive in, do you have anything to add, Susan?
Nope. I think those are great introductions, and I'm very excited about this topic.
I am as well. All right, so let's begin. I want to really frame a story before we get started. So I know we've all experienced this. So we received an email from a company where we've ordered something from, and we get really excited about our shipment. Then we click on the tracking link to see where it is, only to be taken to the carrier's website where it says no information is available or the label's generated. So what a letdown. I know that that's really frustrating, and really, what's going through my head is, how could the business say that the package is on its way, but it really isn't? With us being in the wine industry, we really know better than to contact the company to ask the status of the shipment, because we're all dealing with that ourselves, probably with fielding these kinds of questions. But we know the consumers that we serve are not as keen on what is happening. So that experience is kind of a letdown experience. So similarly, if there's an issue with the package due to the carriers, like a damage, or if it's delayed because of something out of our control, it's not reflected on the carriers, it's reflected on our brands, because the consumer is equating the entire experience with our brand. So we've heard a lot of stories of this time and time again from our clients, and we know it can feel really out of control when a package is in the hands of the carrier. But you know what? Let's take back control of the experience, regardless, of what's happening, whether there is a weather event or a damage or otherwise. Let's take the reins, and that will really show the customer that we're committed to their experience. And I know that that helps us improve engagement, drive revenue, and increase loyalty in that delivery experience. So it isn't a white glove experience really at its core, setting expectations, being in the know every step of the way, and being flexible to the needs of your consumers, and being adaptable. So there's an opportunity really for our industry to incorporate learnings from other industries who are paving the way on this customer experience journey. So I'm going to pass it over to Susan to share more.
Yeah, I think it's incredibly relevant to start to talk about shipping right now, because consumer buying habits have changed, right? I mean, Silicon Valley Bank this winter said that now 55% of wine consumers are under the age of 40. So what does that mean? Well, that means they grew up with technology, right? That means they're very comfortable with technology, and if not, they prefer technology and they prefer to buy online. So we can see this online channel growth when you look at the overall beverage category in the United States. Because our consumers are really digitally fluent now, they're also very open to new types of shopping. So buy now, pay later is huge. Buy now, pick up in store is huge. All of, buying through apps instead of websites and on the phone. Social media buying, social commerce, all of these things are creating this sort of flurry of online channels. And as retailers are scrambling to attract online traffic, most of us are adopting an omni-channel marketing approach. And what that means is you're in multiple things simultaneously. So this chart here, it shows we're seeing about 35% of US beverage companies that are online are using multiple channels. About 30% of beverage companies online are selling only through their website at D2C, and 20% are selling on specialty stores like wine.com in our space. 15% are selling just through demand sites like flash sites or list sites like Wine Access. And then 5% are just on little marketplaces like Vivino, which is probably our big one in our space. Next slide there. But we can't talk about online e-commerce without talking about Amazon, right? The Amazon factor. Amazon has single-handedly has the power to change market dynamics and set new standards for consumer expectations. With Amazon Prime, they rolled out this free 2-day shipping, and a recent survey of consumers said that 68% of consumers now expect deliveries to happen within 3 days. So whatever Amazon does, the market seems to follow. Along with these increased expectations of speed, come consumers' increased expectation of communication. Just like Emily was saying, there's a frustration when you get an email that says something shipped and then you go to log in to see when it's going to be there and it just says we don't have the information yet. That's a big disconnect for them. Other services like DoorDash and Instacart, they've trained us, not only do we know when our product's coming, but we can actually see the little car and we know that it's 3 stops away. So there's a tremendous visibility in this space that consumers are setting their expectations toward. The other expanded customer service carries over to reroutes or returns or exception notices. Basically, Amazon is completely vertically aligned. So they handle everything from, getting the package ready to delivering it to your door. That's a problem for people like us, because we're not a vertically aligned industry, right? We have fulfillment houses, and then we have shipping companies that take it from the fulfillment houses, like WineShipping. But consumers are expecting that Amazon control and consistency, even though the rest of us go through a third party. So the learning here is you really have an opportunity, and you really need to take ownership of your entire process if you haven't started already, because consumers expect that box on the porch was given there by you. Another big consumer trend that comes out of online growth is operational transparency. So if 55% of our wine consumers grew up with the internet, then they're used to being able to search and find out any kind of detail online, right? They get all the ratings, what everybody thinks, how long it took to get there. You go on Etsy and it's like, super detailed about what people think about everything. So they assume that we are the same way, right? We know everything about them. We can deliver things between 2 and 2:15 on a Tuesday, right? And 86% of customers surveyed now said that transparency from a company, is incredibly important. Well, what is transparency, right? So it's a big part of customer service. So most people, when surveyed, they equate transparency with providing as much information as possible that you have on your products, your brand, your staff, even your goals of your company. So where does all this transparency get us? Hopefully, if it's used for the power of good, it translates into more personalized products, services, and messages. I remember back in the 90s when I first started doing online advertising and everything was really new, everybody freaked out about cookies, right? Oh my God, they're going to track us. They're going to know what I'm looking at, because we wanted to target, obviously, banners to people with certain surfing habits, right? Now, if you look at a survey now, 25 years later, Jesus. And there's actually like a disappointment with consumers if things aren't targeted, right? So they expect not only the communication channel, but the message to be based on their behavior and what they do. As you can see here, this is a study about 2 first-time buyers and their expectations. And if you look, they're all in the 60% range of, I want targeted promotions, I want you to tailor messages to my needs, I want relevant product information, make it easy for me. So they really are expecting you to put that entire experience together and know everything, where it falls within the channel and how things are being delivered and suiting their needs. So today, the reason I'm excited about this webinar is, when we first started talking, both WineShipping and us realized we're in this perfect storm of all of these trends converging. You've got increased comfort and demand for e-commerce, plus a high expectation of delivery service. You have a desire for transparency and a need for personalization. And all of these things kind of come together with a well thought out communication plan for your customers regarding their wine shipments. Turning it back over to you guys now. Nope, I'm still doing the slide, sorry.
Okay.
So some people call them transactional emails. Some people call them system emails, automated emails. What we're talking about here when we're talking about a communication plan with your shipping emails is emails that are sent out with a trigger of behavior during the purchase process. They can be anything from an abandoned cart email to a sales receipt, thank you for your order. Now, these are really important emails. Please don't overlook them. If you walk away with one thing from this webinar, go back and look at your automated emails. These are the highest open rates you will have across any of your emails. Deliverability is particularly high for them because they don't require a lot of unsubscribes or scanning that a lot of the security protocols use for mass emails. So they're getting a good delivery rate, and they're always, open in the 60, 70, 80% range. Other industries already use these for cross-selling. In fact, 1/3 of companies attribute 25% of their online revenue to these types of emails. Isn't that amazing? We're not really using these in the wine space. 25% of all their online sales are from receipts and shipping notices. So best practice is to use these as some sort of continuing the conversation. You should do about 80% the transaction message, and 20% is the sales message that you can tack on to continue that relationship with that customer. Now, it's not just emails though, right? You guys do a lot of work with texts and Redshirt.
That's right. So yeah, as Susan said, it's not all about emails. So I know there's a lot of interest in push notifications and texts. And as you can see here, consumers are subscribed to them for those much anticipated shipments and other news from companies that they buy from. So as we can see in these stats from Simple Text and Airship, for companies who implement these, it drives a higher level of engagement and success with customers. But you know what? I know these can feel taboo with compliance requirements around consent and implementation considerations, but I want to encourage you to really have no fear. So let's dive in and take a closer look at wine on the next slide there. So really, let's face it. As you can see, I think as an industry in wine, email is really the preferred method of communication. It definitely works, but again, let's not ignore SMS. So if we look at some stats from Vinteractive, less than 10% of wineries and wine cellars are really using SMS. So if you do move into it, there are a wealth of benefits. And there are providers, as Susan mentioned, like Redshirt, whom we have an integration with here at WineShipping, and Vinteractive and other companies who specialize in it for our industry. So who we are seeing have the most success are leveraging these particular benefits to be successful. So wineries are using their own number, which is, adds familiarity to their customers. They're able to have a conversation with their customers just like you would with a friend for texting. So that allows the ability to place orders or resolve problems pretty quickly, and have those customized messages to make them feel personalized, like you are texting a friend. So all in all, I think SMS is a great option because of the customer demand. But yeah, let's not ignore email, the preferred method of the wine industry. So I'm going to pass it back over to Susan to talk through, or rather, let's actually, now I got switched around, Susan. But let's look at some best practices. Yeah, before we dive into some examples that Susan will share. So As we've been talking about, you want to set those expectations up front with your customers about the process so they know what to expect and can help anticipate. So that includes their order details in the confirmation email with all those specifics like products, prices, the expected delivery dates, and any shipping dates. You'll want to make, of course, we're a hospitality industry, you'll want to celebrate your customers and make them feel appreciated, so they can, have that favorable impression. You'll want to kind of not make them wait. I think Susan was sharing, there's opportunities for cross-selling or education or referral programs. So there's a lot of the world's our oyster here when it comes to these kind of transactional emails. And this may be kind of, of course, kind of obvious, but you want to make sure your emails are kind of tested for, I know a lot of companies do what they call A/B testing to make sure that they are looking good. That you may want to test messaging, but just in terms of deliverability itself, you want to just do some testing so it doesn't go to your consumer's spam folders. And then this may be an obvious one, but just don't forget to include your contact information. In case a customer wants to make a change or they have an issue, they can reach out to you and your brand is top of mind as well. So here's where I'll pass it over to Susan to take us through some examples here.
Yeah, I think to echo some of that, the best practices are really in design is to keep it simple. This is not the place that you want to have tons of imagery, multiple calls to action. Your logo should be extremely clear because that's the number one thing is people want to trust who it's coming from. 80% again of your content should be about the transaction itself. And then have it, sort of this clean footer and header. I like this Fitbit email. I like it a lot because it really, as Emily said, it celebrates that customer's purchase. Don't forget to say thank you. It says, "Are you smiling?" You're totally smiling. And then it also acknowledges that the wait is unpleasant with no need to camp out at your mailbox. The details are in this white box. You can't miss them, as clear as can be. And there is contact information at the bottom, as she said, just in case there's an issue. Here's another example from Google. Google's on the left here. It is very Google, so no personality, extremely clean, very direct, no extraneous information. But I do like the little line graphic at the top. It tells me where I am in the process. So there's a visual cue there. The Chewy email on the right is equally as clean. Except they have added this little illustration of the truck. It sort of softened the surgical nature of this, administrative communication. But I also really like they've turned their call to action if you need help or you have concerns to icons at the bottom of the page. This doesn't have to be boring. You can certainly, inject your own personality into them. Outdoor Voices here says ready, set, shipped. And it keeps all their information incredibly brief, 2 pictures of what you ordered and getting your tracking information. Now we're going to look at a couple emails that have a cross-sell component of it. And with a brand called MeUndies, they don't take themselves too seriously. So I would expect nothing less in an email. I think it's particularly inspired that my order apparently wrote me a haiku, which they included here. I love poetry. And only after the haiku do they tell me the tracking information. And then they have 2 extra boxes. One is for a referral credit, and then the other one is if I need support from the Cheek Squad. Great brand. On this next one, Food 52, they're telling me my package is on its way, but then they also give me a referral bonus and a nod that they hope that I come visit them soon. And both of those are nice because they're like continuing the conversation with me. It's not just like, yeah, here's your order, have a good life. It's we'll see you later, and what's the next step, and when can we see you again? I mean, this is even done, this is a filter company on the right. So Easy Filter is offering to have a longer relationship with me after I got my filters, because I can refer a friend. So this is widely done in all sorts of industries that you wouldn't think of typically having an ongoing conversation. In the wine industry, on the next page here, we've done this a number of different ways. So we've been doing this for a while with our clients. We always recommend that we redo their whole suite of administrative emails. Here's three examples. Trace Perlis here on the left. The cross sells they are really passionate about is this is an abandoned cart email, and they wanted to suggest that people know more about their charity work, more about their wines or their wine club. Joseph Carr here in the middle tells me that after I put my club on hold, I can still shop for wines, or I can re-sign up for the club. And then Ponzi here reminds me that there's more wine to be had after my order arrives. In all cases, I really recommend that you think through what steps you have in a relationship and what the next step would be. For instance, if someone joins the club, maybe ask them to visit. If it's a receipt for a visit, maybe remind them that you have those wines online. When somebody buys online, ask them to write a review. If you're shipping a club package, suggest maybe they share their club with friends or a referral. All of these call to actions can be natural when applied to the correct transactional email as like the next step in the conversation. So everybody wants to know, does this work? Now, we've done probably dozens of automated emails like these across multiple platforms. For this particular webinar, I went ahead and pulled the data of about 600,000 email sends. I found some interesting information. So I bucketed them before we did any edits, and they were just like out of the box standard robotic text with no design. And then after the edits, and when, you know, like the version of the page before where we had calls to actions and visuals and things. So we saw an open rate of 74% before we edited anything, and afterwards it was 80. Now that might not be a big jump, but that kind of makes sense because you open an email based on the subject line. So the design work or the copy changes wouldn't really affect an open rate. But you can really see that effect when you look at the click-through rate. That jumped 88% from 25% to almost 50. The bounce rate also went down, and the conversion rate went up to 56%, which is kind of amazing because, again, we don't typically treat these as transactional emails, and we should. It shows a ton of potential here to make sales, so much so that Wineshipping and WineGlass Marketing are diving into further details on specific messaging and calls to actions. And I'm going to steal the thunder and let them know we're going to be releasing a joint white paper on June 15th. And everybody on this webinar will be emailed a copy, but it's going to go into very specific email types and what you can expect as response rates.
Well, Susan, I'm really excited to, just let everybody know that with Wineshipping's premium tracking services that are available to our clients right now, we are seeing the same kind of data that you have shown us through your research, is that those open and click rates are really high when it comes to sending communications out about your orders. People want to open them up. So what's premium tracking? If you're a Wineshipping customer, you've been hearing me talk about this since October. I've been hosting these webinars and talking about this. But premium tracking is a tool that we offer our clients. They're fully customizable emails. They're automated. They're based on carrier scans. So they're real-time communications to your customer. Also, you have an opportunity now to have what we're calling a branded tracking page. And what does that mean? Well, that means that you no longer are sending your end customer to the carrier sites anymore. They're not going and clicking track my package and going to UPS, FedEx, DHL, whoever it is you're using. Now we're going to a branded experience where it looks like your website, clicking directly into your website, and you're able to carry your message, offer marketing, promotions, refer a friend, all the things that we've just been talking about. on this branded tracking. They're completely customizable and changeable. You know, you can have as many as you want. So you could have 3 or 4 going at the same time for the different types of customers and different kinds of customized emails that you have. Also, with premium tracking, you have an opportunity to use SMS to tell your customers and reach your customers about when their packages are going to arrive. Standard SMS one-way communication is part of premium tracking, but we also have an integration with Redshirt. So you can take it that next step and have that two-way email or texting communications and take that branding and customization and when you're reaching out, just that whole next level. And then the last part about premium tracking that is incredible and you can really get lost in is the data. It gives you a really amazing host of analytics. You can start to understand what's happening with your packages when they're with the carriers, what kind of delivery rates are we seeing? Are our carriers meeting their promises on overnight and 2-day deliveries? Are they meeting the expectations for successful delivery? Are they meeting what is that, what is the first time delivery rate? You can see that. Are your customers actually getting their packages on the first attempt? Or is it taking, that second or third time? Because we all know in the wine industry, it's a pain point. We can't leave that package on the door at the first time. It has to be signed for. So you now actually have opportunities to be communicating when things might be changing, if there is an exception, all of those kinds of things through premium tracking, because those communications are based on when the carrier changes that next step. So a little bit more about Redshirt. We are really excited we partnered with them to create this integration. So if you are a Redshirt customer already and a WineShipping customer, it is literally a couple of clicks and that integration for those tracking details can be sent over through our integration with Redshirt. And it just enables you to leverage your branding to that next level. And then what those texts do is it actually, when they say track your package, it then links into that branded tracking page that you already have set up through your premium tracking. And that takes that branding that next step. So with premium tracking, we recommend at a minimum to set up the emails for in transit, for out for delivery, for when a package goes into exception, and failed attempt. And in terms of SMS, if you're nervous about it, let me say that in terms of compliance, this is one of the nice things about with compliance with SMS for an already purchased thing. You already have the buy-in. Like you're already compliant when your customer has made a purchase from you. So you can start small and just start with out for delivery. And then, again, customize that tracking page and offer promotions. And then I'm really excited to share with you about collecting reviews, because this is a really cool feature that AfterShip and premium tracking allows you to do. So again, these are notifications that are based on the scans. So as soon as the carrier scans, your customer is notified. It's in real time. Say out for delivery, we're finding that people that have employed these notifications, they are having that first time delivery rate go up by, instead of 70%, we're at 80, even to 90% by just using this kinds of communication, setting that expectation. So a little here where it gets really fun in terms of marketing and bringing your brand forward, right? So this is a WineShipping branded tracking page that we created here. And you can see at the top, we have our logo, but each one of those where it says like current portal or new portal or knowledge base, all of those are clickable links that take you directly into our website. So it looks exactly like our brand. You can see here on the bottom, we have a promotion that we put on there, refer a friend. You click that and it goes through that process of referring a friend and giving your end customer. So those are just some examples. And you can see here, and then of course, the most important thing, why people are going there is to find out that information about their package. And in that space over here, you can see that that would list the full tracking details for your customer. So let's talk a little bit about reviews. So this is where things get really fun. So the part that I didn't talk about is, I gave you the 4 recommended, but if you really want to take it a next step further, send an email that says your package has been delivered. And when you do that, you then have this opportunity to have rate your experience. With premium tracking, when they click rate your experience, it's going to take them to your branded tracking page, but now it's giving them an opportunity to rate their delivery experience. And that lets you know immediately whether or not your customer's been happy with their experience. And again, we talked a little bit more about expectations. And, one of the things that we have found that through premium tracking and sending out these real timely notifications that, when things were getting crazy in the 4th quarter last year with the weather and things were delayed and packages were going into exception and they were taking, 8, 10, sometimes 11 days to get from the West Coast to the East Coast, people were still rating it a 5-star delivery experience because they were communicated with through the entire time. Mm-hmm. So a really important just metric to understand. If you get a 1 or 2-star review, hey, you can respond to that literally within minutes of somebody giving that rating to find out what happened, how can I help, what can we do, just being in touch with your customer.
It's really great because the psychology behind it is all about control, right? And when you're working virtually and you have all of these communication channels, customers have this expectation of control, and so you're giving it back to them by telling them when it's going to be delivered, and then even letting them, judge you at the end. It's really very smart.
Yeah. So Susan, why don't you tell us a little bit more about our partnership?
Yeah, so WineShipping has reached out to us to develop these emails for you, if you wish. They've already gone through and they've set up your basic email, the 4 emails that she mentioned, with your logo. I think they're black and white, pretty basic. Yeah. So one of the cool things that they have is, as Karen mentioned, is this branded tracking page. So our very base level package that if you are interested, you can sign up with, you get an email or all 4 emails where you go for the tracking numbers, and then you get that that landing page. So this is an example here of that basic package. The blue we used here and the Doghouse wine are our demo purposes. So imagine your color and your logo. We have a couple different header options and a couple different footer options you can choose from, but it's clean, it's basic. You guys don't have to deal with it. We'll go in and set it up for you at a pretty nominal price. The next package upgrades, and here's where you have those kickers or those calls to action for cross-selling if you want. Again, assume the color and the logo is yours. You could also pick whatever you want in the boxes and whatever calls to action you want and what images you want. This could be for your club. It could be maybe visit us. It could be buy more wine. And you can see here the tracking page has a single call to action box, and you can drive them back to your website after they check that page. This also has some other options we can set up with you, and it's looking like, with the response rates that we've been seeing, you'll be able to make up that $1,000 in no time with clicks back to your site and sales. The final package keeps that premium email with the 3 options at the bottom, but then you get this luxury tracking page. Here, what you have is an image bleed across the top and up to 3 calls to action areas. It's also fully customizable with your logo, your colors, and your images. Going to the example on the next page, this just shows how we set it up here with one of our clients, Haber. So ironically, their color is also blue. And we have their, we use the icons depending on what, where they are in the process. And then we have their landing page set up for them with their branding. And as Karen was saying, if you really wanted to be slick, you could set up different settings of these. So like maybe your club members get one communication and landing page and your non-club shipments get another one. And then going back to the objective of kind of continuing that dialogue with them, you know, what's next? You bought once now, you know, or you bought your club, do you want to buy it again? Like, you know, you can continue your dialogue on through these messages.
Thank you, Susan and Karen, for sharing more about the packages, the best practices, and examples of these emails. I want to kind of summarize what we've learned here today. You know, all in all, if you don't take away anything from this webinar, just really consider your shipping notifications as part of your marketing program. Don't ignore it. There's so much opportunity here to help drive revenue, loyalty, and just create a wonderful experience for your clients so they keep coming back to you. Susan showed us some cheeky and, you know, simple best practice notifications examples. So follow those best practices, have fun, show off your personality, and really, you know, lean into the customization of your brand to your customers. They already have a good relationship with you, and, you know, to continue to delight them with some either kind of cheeky messages or not. I was delighted by that, and it made my day seeing that. But I think that will be the same for your clients too. You know, talking about those notifications, if you do want to do SMS, just make sure you're choosing a provider that's compliant with kind of permissions and such, you know, with carriers and the likes, but you won't have an issue if, you know, you use some of the providers in the industry. If you're able to text from your own number that's familiar, do two-way texting to have that conversational friendly feel. And if you haven't started with SMS, just start without free delivery. We're seeing some really good statistics there. In terms of email, we talked about the 4 recommended emails that you should be using. And just a reminder here, for these notifications, it doesn't have to be just for wine shippings. Regardless of the systems that you use, we realize that, you know, there's a lot of systems to choose from, but we're just sharing these best practices so you can have the most success. So if you're able to implement these types of emails or SMS notifications elsewhere, just a reminder, these are those best practices, but we've seen great success with our clients and these examples too. And then if you're able to customize your tracking page, don't send your customers to the carrier sites. And if you're able to cross-sell or cross-promote different offers or opportunities or educational opportunities, do that, and then let your customers judge you at the end so you can find ways to improve. So that's really all in all, you know, to summarize these best practices that we talked about today. And as Susan mentioned earlier, we do have a white paper coming out June 15th, and so we're really excited to share more of these insights with you. If you want to pop on over to the next slide, we'll share a little bit more detail, but we'll send everyone on this webinar a copy, and it will include not only data from WineGlass Marketing and some other industry information, but it will also share some data and insights that we've seen from WineShipping's premium tracking solution. So we're really looking forward to sharing that with you on June 15th. So I want to again say how honored, speaking for Karen and myself, how honored we are to have you, Susan, join us today and share your wisdom. And we just want to say thank you to all of our attendees as well. Feel free to reach out to any of us if you have any questions or want to learn more. The packages that Susan shared today, we will be sending a link with more information with this webinar recording, so you can ask questions or get more information there. So at this point,
we're going to set that up so that, You're going to order it through WineShipping since your customers are WineShipping, and then the request will come to us, and we can get into your back-end system, premium shipping from WineShipping, and set this up for you. But anybody can email me if they have any questions on it. But we're going to run this through WineShipping this time.
Yeah. Please, if you guys have questions, please use
no
the
questions.
sign. Yeah, no questions. I know.
No snarky comments. Nothing.
Yeah, I think we've answered everything, but or maybe people are a little shy. But if anybody does have questions, of course, don't hesitate to reach out to any of us. And we really enjoyed sharing with you today.
Thank you guys for having me. Really
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Yeah,
It's super fun. Thanks, Susan. Thanks,
Thanks.
Emily.
Cheers.